Ahoy there folks, I'm Captain Benzie and welcome back to another video for EVE Online. In today's video we're going to be going back and taking a secondary look at the Gallente Federation's Tech 3 strategic cruiser, the Proteus. This ship actually surprised me the first time I flew it using its drone subsystem, so I was kind of excited actually to get back and take a look at this with a medium hybrid system. As I've said before, medium hybrids are one of those weapon systems I don't use nearly enough. They definitely have their own advantages and disadvantages, and honestly, I love the way they sound. I don't know if there's been a sound redesign recently, but medium hybrids absolutely smack now. They're not quite cannons in the way that they fire, but they're not far off either, which is really quite cool. Anyway, the Proteus. I've also got to say, this subsystem, the new medium hybrid subsystem here on the back, actually looks pretty cool. The Proteus has a little bit of a reputation as not being the best looking of the Tech 3 strategic cruisers, but I think there's something about this one that does actually, look quite cool. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Anyway, we're going to be taking the Proteus with the medium hybrid subsystem, trying it out through some J-Space C3 class ratting, just to see how it does. If you do enjoy this video or find it useful, please let me know. Hit like, drop a comment down below. Both of those things really help the channel out by basically saying to YouTube, this content's cool, recommend it to more people. Commenting and liking really helps your local YouTuber. Do help them out. If you do want to go the extra mile though to support the channel financially and help keep me making content like this, head into the description where you can hit my Patreon, my PayPal tip jar, or my Redbubble merchandise store. Finally, while you're down there, two final things to look at. There is a referral link there as well. If you've not clicked a referral link before for EVE Online, essentially click that, log in, I get a small kickback, you get 1 million free skill points, and what's not to love about that, right? Finally, there's also a link to the Catskull community Discord. Even if you don't want to join our amazing corporation, and quite frankly, that's on you, heck, come join us. We'd love to have some more people fly with us, have a great time. But even if you don't want to join us, it's a great place to hang out and talk to people who are enjoying playing EVE Online and a bunch of other space games besides. Come join us, have a good time, have some fun, say hi to me, and it'll all be pretty sweet, right? Anyway, all of that said and done, because I'm going to lose my voice if I keep talking on rambling like this, let's jump straight into the video. So here we are, Gallente Federation's Tech 3 strategic cruiser, the Proteus, running medium hybrid turrets. Does it work? Quite frankly, if that's the only reason you've clicked on this video, you just want that question answered, then let me allow you to get on with your life. Yes, it works, and it works surprisingly well, but here's how we do it. That's what the video's mainly going to be about, right? So hopefully not too much false advertising. Does it work? Yes, here's how. Normally, I would go through the Proteus traits and description page here, talking about the ship characteristics, but we've already done that in the other Proteus video. I'll try to remember to put a link on screen and in the description down below, but otherwise just search Captain Benzie Proteus and it will come up, I promise. I'm not going to waste your time going through it again. If you need that information, it's in that video. So let's look at the fit. When I am setting up a ship for C3 J-Space ratting, obviously we have to account for survivability, we have to account for good clear times, and we have to account for a few other bits and pieces. Survivability is obviously the key. We have a certain amount of incoming damage. Can we tank that damage? And if so, how? Now, ultimately, there are different ways we can do this. Obviously, active tank, like shield and armor, active repairing, there's a certain amount that you need to be able to just survive. You can also increase your resistances, and you can have a small, fast-moving ship that reduces incoming damage just by having good traversal. Proteus actually does really well with both the movement and small size, reducing incoming damage, somewhat decent resists across the board, which isn't terrible, and it's got pretty good armor repairing rate as well. It does actually work really well on the tanking side of things. We do then have to also account for a certain amount of neutralization. You're going to get energy newts in these ratting anomalies. They are going to be neuting your capacitor, and they will hit you pretty hard. There are some ships that do 12 gigajoules per second each, and some that do 6 gigajoules per second each. It's only the battleships that do the 12 and the awakened upholders do the 6, and they're what we kind of have to plan for. There is one site, for example, that has 4 awakened upholders on you early on, thus you're going to be taking 24 gigajoules per second of neutralization for that first wave. The Fortification Frontier Stronghold, there's actually going to be, I think it's 18 gigajoules per second on you, so we do need to bear that in mind. Looking there at the Proteus here, you'll see with 16.4 gigajoules per second, that is technically under the amount we need to survive. But remember, that's with everything running, and that's very rarely going to happen. If we turn off one of the armor repairers, we've got 34.2 gigajoules per second of delta. That is enough to survive any of the neutralization coming in from these sites. So when you're getting heavily neuted, you make sure you're only running one of the armor repairers for the most part. You run the second one only when you really, really need it. There are actually times when you will need to overheat some of those armor repairers, but thank goodness that the bonuses that we're getting from some of the systems here, if we go into the defensive subsystem, oh, look at that. 7.5% bonus to armor repairer effectiveness, 7.5% bonus to the benefits of overheating armor repairers. So overheating is something that we actually want to do. And remember, the good old strategic cruiser bonus is a reduction in module damage from overheating as well, and a bonus to nanite repair speed. So overheating, something you want to get used to when running Tech 3 strategic cruisers. Now this fit obviously is going to be in the description down below as well, so you can copy paste it into the game or into Python, whatever the hell you want, to see what skills you're going to need to train up in order to get this to this point. I'm pretty highly skilled, don't expect to get the exact numbers you see on screen. I'm also not going to put out a full skill plan for flying this thing. Please stop asking for that, or I don't know, get onto Patreon or PayPal and donate $30 with the request for a skill plan for a particular ship, because that's how much time and effort it takes to come up with a skill plan for one bloody ship at a time. Anyway, so having a look at the fit then, we are going to get 774.0 DPS out of this with 112.4 armor hit points per second repair. We've got a brilliant navigation speed of 629.1, along with a very small size of 195 meters for a cruiser. Decent DPS, and we're not even relying on drones as a Gallente ship, which is nice. Yay for not having to worry about losing drones. How do we do this? Well, our subsystems. We have the Proteus core Augmented Fusion Reactor. If we pull this one up, this is because of its bonus to capacitor recharge time and its reduction to energy warfare resistance. It's increased energy warfare resistance, the reduction to incoming energy warfare. So their newts do less to us. That's a good thing. For our defensive subsystem, I've gone for the Covert reconfiguration because I can't say no to a cloaking device. I love them. Plus core and combat probe strength is nice too, alongside the reduction here to, where are you hiding? 100% reduction in cloaking devices CPU requirement. We can sit there and we can get a nice Covert ops cloaking device in there without having to worry about how it affects our ship. Downside, 5 meter signature radius penalty. Oh no, it's a Proteus. We're already at 190, so being 195, not a problem. The weapon subsystem, we're going for the hybrid encoding platform. Of course we are. It's the one that comes with the medium hybrid turret bonuses. So 10% bonus to medium hybrid turret damage, 10% bonus to medium hybrid turret fall off, and 7.5% bonus to medium hybrid turret tracking speed. That's 50% damage and fall off, 37.5% tracking speed at full training, giving us 6 turret hard points to work with, and we'll talk about this in just a moment. Finally then, the propulsion. The Proteus is a bit weird when it comes to propulsion. There is none that directly benefits afterburners or micro warp drives or ship velocity the same as the others do. Like if you're using the Tengu or whatever, there are various different subsystems you can use that will increase the general speed of the ship or increase the speed when it's under afterburners with an afterburner and micro warp drive overheating bonus. Proteus doesn't get that. The closest it gets is one that is a bonus to overheating afterburners and just the ship agility here. So this is the one we're running because it just gives us that little bit of extra maneuverability around the battlefield. That's important because we are running blasters. Now, if you remember, I said in the Tengu hybrid turret video that blasters just did not work for the Tengu. That's because the Tengu, despite getting a 100% bonus to range, it's to the optimal range. Whereas here on the Proteus, our bonus is to the fall-off range, which is significantly larger on blasters. Here you can see that with Void M ammunition loaded, we're getting 774 DPS with an optimal range of 4.8 kilometers and a fall off up to 12. Obviously, we want to be orbiting around the 4-5 kilometer mark for the most part to get the best of that DPS, but those awakened upholders, those bastards that orbit at 30 kilometers, how do you deal with them? Well, whereas the Tengu couldn't do this, if I swap to null M ammunition in this particular fit, would you look at that? Optimal range 9 kilometers, fall off to 29. Yes, okay, orbiting at 30 is beyond fall off, but by 1 freaking kilometer, guys, give me some slack. There's no real way to push that out just far enough to make that the 30 kilometers. It'll do. Yeah, your DPS drops down to 502, and again, obviously that's going to be halved when you're firing at a ship that is just beyond full off, so you're looking about 250 DPS, but at least you can bloody well hit them. Being able to hit them is the first part of the battle. You could have 10,000 DPS, and if you can't hit the bloody ship, nothing matters, right? So yeah, there's that. Anyway, I'm just for the numbers. Let's go back to the Void M, because I like seeing that 774 there. Our other two high slots then are of course going to be Covert Ops Cloaking Device and Sisters Core Probe Launcher. I'd normally go for an expanded here, but I just didn't have a spare one lying around, so Sisters Core Probe Launcher may as well, right? Getting good scan strength helps us find a wormhole exit if the one collapses behind us, or if we need to make a quick getaway, that kind of thing. Having the ability to cloak and scan, very useful for wormhole life. For our mid slots then, we have a Thukker, whatever you want to say, large cap battery there. This gives us that capacitor stability, 16.4 gigajoules per second of delta. Very, very nice. It's enough to survive for the most part. Again, making sure we turn off one of those armor repairers when we're getting neutered. We then have a tracking computer. I'm running an optimal range script here, which is what's giving me that little bit of extra range on some of these, but when you are up against stuff that's up close and personal, like the frigates, or if you're orbiting a battleship at nice close range, you can go for the tracking instead of the optimal range script. It's entirely up to you. Options. It's why I like tracking computers so much, because you have that option to go for additional tracking or the range, depending on the situation. Finally, standard 10 meganewton Afterburner II, it gives us a little bit of a boost to our velocity whilst moving through the combat sites. We're using blasters, which means we need to be keeping range with targets quite closely. Why not use a micro warp drive then, Benzie? Because that's going to get you there really quickly, right? Yeah. It's also going to take 20% off the top of our capacitor, making us completely unstable. Not a good idea. Stop asking me about micro warp drives. Low slots then, 2 medium armor repairer 2s. Again, only one of those is actually going to be running at any time, usually to put 2 on when you're taking big heavy damage. Overheat if you're taking super mega heavy damage. Yeah, it's as simple as that. Then we have a magnetic field stabilizer 2, we've got a damage control 2, a tracking enhancer 2 for a little bit of extra range, and a multispectrum energized membrane 2. And you might be saying, hang on a second, Benzie, you said that, there was no way to get that extra, 1 kilometer to get out to 29. Yeah, okay, there was. If I drop the magnetic field stabilizer 2 and put another tracking enhancer, I do hit 30 kilometers full off. But you know what? It's not worth it. The DPS drop on that, watch, oh, look at that. We've gone from 774 down to 640. That is a big drop in DPS. And that additional kilometer doesn't help that much, right? Right? Cool. Finally then, yeah, multispectrum energized membrane. We've got decent resists across the board here. Again, the explosive is a little bit low, but there's not really much more we can do about that. I've already got a medium explosive armor reinforcer 2 rigged there. Seriously, what else do you want me to do? Stop shouting at me, mum. No, ultimately, you could put an explosive hardener rather than multispectrum in the low slots, but it's just not worth it because you're going to drop down with the electromagnetic and the thermal as well and get absolutely obliterated by the sleeper's turrets if one of them hits you. Not worth it. Just accept that you are going to take a little bit more damage from the explosive and just rely on good piloting to keep your traversal up, keep your speed up, and just, yeah, survive with your 2 armor repairers going, occasionally having to overheat them. It's really not that hard. We then have a medium hybrid Locus Coordinator 2. That is to push that range up just that little bit higher. If I were to destroy this and swap back to that null ammunition, you will see right there we are looking suddenly 28 kilometers. And I know what you're saying, Benzie, couldn't that be a DPS rig? Does the 1 kilometer really make that much of a difference? Yeah, it does. Yeah, it actually does in this scenario. You can't fit the DPS rig in there if you wanted to. You can only fit a standard DPS, like a Tech 1 version in there. It's not worth it. It just doesn't do enough. Get that extra kilometer of range so you don't have to worry about it. Finally, medium capacitor control circuit 2. Boom. Capacitor resistance. All nice, good capacitor survivability. Dead easy. Fly this thing around auto orbit. I would normally have a combat demonstration at this point in the video, but I'm a freaking idiot. Got myself a new laptop recently to replace the old Asus ROG Flow X13 that was going freaking thermonuclear. Seriously, the GPU was hitting 88 degrees Celsius when it was turned on and not running anything. We did tests on the BIOS, and the CPU actually hit 100 degrees Celsius on the BIOS. It was not fun. Got a refund for that. It was out of standard warranty, but good old European Union rules means, oh yeah, 24 months warranty, sent it back, got a refund, got a brand new Predator Helios Neo 16, and then set it up, recorded a load of stuff, and realized that I'd set Streamlabs up to record at 720p like a moron. So I don't have a combat demonstration to show you because it would be like looking at, I don't know, it's all completely and utterly pixelated at that point. It looks awful, you can't see anything, you're just going to have to take my word for it. This beauty of a ship will run all 4 of the combat sites, no trouble. You need to be a decent enough pilot on the final waves of the Fortification Frontier and the Outpost Frontier because of the insane amount of damage that can hit you if you're not piloting and keeping up your traversal. Dealing with the frigates, no trouble. You've got void ammunition, out of blasters, you track like a beast, you hit like a freaking freight train, you will wreck through everything that is cruiser, frigate, battleship, you name it. You go through everything really quickly. When you are being neuted, make sure that you're taking out the newts as best as you can, as quickly as you can. Awakened upholders should be priority unless they're going to trigger another wave. You use void for most things. You swap to null only to go after the awakened upholders, or if you really want to be shooting at something that's a little bit too far away for your void to normally be working. So null at things at range, void when you get close, basically auto orbit at 4 to 5 kilometers, and you will be absolutely fine, especially once you've got that traversal up. Final wave of an Outpost Frontier, by time you are actually orbiting one of the battleships, you will be able to stop overheating your 2 armor repairers and just go from there. If you're really, really worried about this, you could theoretically swap one of those for an ancillary. I've also had a couple of people, when I've talked about this fit, suggest obviously dropping the scanner or the cloak for a Nosferatu if you're really, really worried, so you can just keep both armor repairers running at all times. Blinging the armor repairers is another option, but I wanted to keep the fit fairly cost effective. This will survive all 4 sites if you're not an idiot, basically, or if you fly with at least a modicum of care. If you do want to give yourself a little bit of extra padding, yeah, sure, bling the armor repairers, bling the afterburner, just a little bit to see how that helps and gets you through there. But otherwise, that fit will do all 4 sites just as long as you're careful. Anyway, let me know what you think, guys, because honestly, I was not expecting to enjoy a medium hybrid Proteus. Of all the ships out there, this was not on my list as, yeah, I think I'll enjoy that, but I have. It turned out to be a really cool ship. It was a lot of fun to fly. It's cheaper than I thought it would be at only 551.4. But well, at time of me making this video, at least, I don't know, maybe people will buy enough of these that the price will shoot right back up, but we'll see. We'll see. I was really impressed with this. If you are enjoying medium hybrids and you've been using something like, for example, a Deimos, or maybe even an Eagle, then absolutely this is a viable option for you, and it's great fun. I actually really enjoyed it, and if you do try it, let me know how you get on with it. Maybe you update the fit to do something a little bit better for you. Maybe you're not in wormholes and you're just watching this to support the channel, or just have some fun watching some EVE content. I see you guys, and I love you all to pieces as well. But if you're running this in something like nullsec or DED sites or whatever, let me know what fits you're using. I'd love to hear more different fits on the Proteus, because I quite like this ship now. Yeah, genuinely, I said it. I like the Proteus, all right? Yeah, happy? Anyway, folks, thank you for watching this one right the way through to the end. Happy sailing, and see you in New Eden. Or indeed FanFest, because it's like 2 weeks away. I'm so hyped.